tweeting using that on Twitter. Anyways, and as we head into a fresh new day on how about the country and what is making headlines across the globe, locally and also internationally when it does come to that. Now, as of Monday this particular week, a number of cases were coming up with the fact that Afghanistan was still in the news here in Uganda, and most of the Ugandans were really concerned about reports coming in that the US did request Uganda to host over 2,000 Afghan refugees. That is a request from the US government to Uganda, because do remember a number of Afghan refugees have been leaving following that ramp over the rebels that did overthrow the government in Afghanistan. Now, this happened in a situation where most of the Ugandans came up with their side of the story regarding whether they are ready for Afghanistan or Afghans to be in the country as well. Now, as of yesterday, Kampala, Uganda, hasn't yet come out on a statement, because we have not received any official statement from any sector in the government, or more so that in charge of refugees, that we are temporarily going to host the 2,000 Afghan refugees at the request of the United States. But however, as reports do come in, Esther Anyakun, Uganda State Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, did say President Museveni told her to make some preparations for the 2,000 refugees from Afghanistan. Now, she furthermore says that Ugandans should act and receive this as a request from the United States government, because it is just a request. And when it comes to helping out the people in Afghanistan, and what does it even mean? Because you will definitely look at the way that if we are requested to host over 2,000 refugees, that means we are expecting them to be brought in shifts. And the shifts may be 500 or a pair, that is 1,000. So according to the United Nations Human Resource, that is the United Nations Human Commission for Refugees, that's the UNHCR, it secured Imperial Hotels in Entebbe as a transit center for them to first of all arrive and be screened. That is according to the statement from Esther Anyakun, that is the Uganda State Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees. Now, the UN High Commission for Refugees also, furthermore, with the representative as Joel Batru, did also confirm that the decision to receive the Afghan refugees is underway. And now, as we welcome that, of course, and again, the generosity of the Ugandan government when it comes to welcoming refugees, we've furthermore seen how Uganda has been a welcoming country. The hospitality here is one that can go, that can't go and without being touched or talked about, regardless of the scenarios or the situations when it comes to what we are facing as a country. But you could definitely see that Ugandans, or even the government, is very welcoming. We have a number of refugees from different countries, that is after the cases that have come out after the wars, not only in Africa. We have refugees from Somalia, we do have refugees from South Sudan, we do have refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and some of them also from Rwanda as well. So we've been having some refugees from different countries, more so neighboring countries. But now this is this is also something that comes up with the thousands of Afghans who did flee the country after the Taliban fighters announced Sunday that they had taken Kabul and took control of the presidential palace. Now, according to Ashraf, President Ashraf Ghani left Afghanistan reportedly saying he wanted to avoid bloodshed, signaling the end of a 20-year conflict. And the Taliban fighters declared the war in Afghanistan over, prompting tens of thousands to flee the fighters' hardline and Islamist rule. Now, first of all, if I am to take you through what social media had to react regarding this particular news in Uganda, well, Ugandans are quite funny, and Ugandans are quite people who definitely come out and take something, who will definitely come up to create humor regardless of a situation that comes about. Or should I say Ugandans do joke a lot in that perspective. Meanwhile, most Ugandans did welcome the idea, as some of them were actually going against the government with the idea that they're over bringing in a number of refugees. But then the majority was actually excited to see the Afghanistan, as you would see most of the tweets, all the Twitter handlers out there were coming up to give up their view of what they do think, if at all we do have Afghanistans in the country, or if we have new Afghans in the country, that is a new race, definitely. That means if we're welcoming a new breed of people in Uganda, would they also be welcomed as new Ugandans as well? Or will they have a chance to also engage in terms of politics or anything in terms of economic affairs? Because what I do know, almost all foreigners in Uganda have also got something to do with attaching themselves to what we call the political, economical, and social factors of this particular country. So as the Afghans do come in the country, we do wait for an official statement of whether they are coming though, and then also we do wait for an official statement to see the number that will be reported, or the number that will come to Uganda, and where will that center be, where will the refugee camp be. So to everyone who still thinks, this goes out to some of the people who are looking at employment opportunities from the Afghans, thinking they're coming in as investors. Meanwhile, these people are actually coming in as refugees. So you should definitely be reading your mind safely. You should definitely be keen on following up with this particular information regarding the Afghan refugees that are set to come to Uganda. And also we'll be keeping you updated with how much and which impact does it lay to Uganda, and how much does it mean for any Ugandan out there who's going to take part in this particular Afghan refugee request by the United States. As we do await, and we clearly see, if at all they do come in the country, maybe next week or maybe next month, is even ready to accommodate them, because there's a big difference. I was having a chat with some of the people who are actually against the fact that Uganda wants to bring in the Afghanistans in the country, and someone would actually mention the fact that I think the government should actually clearly look into this matter when they're bringing in these refugees, because we have to first of all make sure we're well prepared about it, because in such situations that we're actually facing as a country, we still have a problem with even maintaining our own population or our own people as Ugandans. Are we ready to add on another set or another bunch of foreigners or refugees in the country? But meanwhile, for Uganda, we do know that you're very welcoming, and we do understand the fact that if these Afghans do come, you will definitely give them a warm welcome in Uganda, and you'll definitely make them feel comfortable or feel at home, regardless of whether they are Ugandans or not. All right, now that does that particular story of what has been making headlines also across the country when it comes to Afghanistan, and also across East Africa and the globe. Now, meanwhile, of yesterday, as we were speaking, the state, that is the Ministry of Finance, did come out with a report that a number of Ugandans did lose their jobs. That was in a period of May and June. Over 100 people actually did lose their jobs. And one would ask, what happened, and how come we are at this particular situation of where a number of people lost Yes, a number of people did lose their jobs there. Then how come that people did lose a number of jobs? Now, first of all, these are things that you do expect when we have a pandemic, or these are one of the things you do expect when we're in a lockdown. Because first of all, as a boss, bosses would think of the biggest idea would be chopping off or cutting short of your employees to make sure you meet the ends of your business. This means you're supposed to remain with a limited number of employees that you're definitely going to be able to pay off. And also, you need to understand the fact that the government had also cleared off and said that we should need a 10% of employees at a certain job. So if at all you were employing over 50 people, then that means you're supposed to, cut off a number of them so that you remain with the most essential. That will definitely help you out in actually carrying out your activities as well. Now, you could definitely see that with this particular story, that is still a developing one, as of the ministry coming out and saying that the data contained was that during that end in June, that employment had been constrained by the second wave of COVID-19. And this therefore did indicate that there was a reduction from informal employment from 714,048 employees to 653,066 formal employees. The formal employees, we're talking about people who are basically on a salary. I wouldn't say wages because I don't think most of the Ugandans are on wages. We're speaking about people who are actually working on a formal job basis where you are receiving a monthly salary with some monthly allowances as well. And meanwhile, these particular people are also most of the formal employees that we're talking about are the same people who was assigned or people who are under the NSSF pay route, where they actually pay NSSF to the National Security Fund there. So you could definitely see these are some of the things that we definitely had to expect when it comes to the COVID-19, just even before the second wave, because we do believe in the second wave, Uganda was hurt very severely with this particular wave of COVID-19. We did have issues when it comes to that and how the government had to come out to make sure we stay at home for over 42 days, where Ugandans had to stay home and wait until President Museveni did come back and did come out to clearly or partially lift the lockdown, to make sure that at least some of the sectors are reopened in Uganda as well. So now you could definitely see why most of the people did lose their jobs when it comes to the period of May and June. We do remember June is when we started off with our 42-day lockdown. Now, first of all, if you were to look at it in this particular scenario, what if at all you're home there and you're still waiting and see whether you're going to regain your job? Meanwhile, here on Smart 24, we do also have a segment called the Job Mart, where we definitely give you job links in Uganda and also in East Africa, where you can definitely apply for a new job, for a new place as well, and try out your chances. You never know, you can actually get the jobs. Now, meanwhile, as this is actually a state where we're trying to understand the fact that a number of people losing jobs is as an outcome of the low turnover. If at all we look at the cell turnover that the business is actually getting from the fact that people were home and there were less business in the city as well, not only in the city but also in the country, because people were keeping a lot of money to themselves. There is no way you let out money when you know you're at home, you're not working. That means you're supposed to budget off your money very well and make sure it fits you and it fits or it accommodates you and your budget at home as well in the 42-day lockdowns. So you could definitely see why the bosses thought of let us first cut off some of the employees. So that this left a number of employees jobless and people looking for new avenues of life and new ways to tap into a source of income as well. Now do remember also, because if a boss actually chops off some of the employees and he effectively or she effectively still works with enough effort and still meets their goal and targets, then that means the people that she chopped off or he chopped off are likely not to return to the jobs. Because one of the things that I do know is if someone has been cutting off expenses in order to meet his employees' salaries, you definitely see that if at all you have few employees and you can meet their salaries and they can still effectively provide services, you would think of retaining only these ones that you stayed with during the lockdown, which has left a number of people still jobless as of now. Someone who did start the year with a full-time job, by the time we reached June, someone lost a job on a simple leave of 42 days in the lockdown. This also left, when we talk about even lockdown, this also left a number of issues regarding teachers, because we've been seeing teachers coming up together. If we're mentioning people who did lose jobs, even way back from the first wave of the COVID-19, we could definitely never go without mentioning about teachers. After the government did come out and issue rules for reopening medical schools, a number of teachers also came up with their complaints. We did have earlier the Secretary of the Uganda, the General Secretary of the Uganda Teachers Union on Smart 24 here, clearly showing us of why the government should also reopen them. Because we did look into a situation where a number of schools are closed as of now. And you could definitely tell that if you are to remember how the things do come about. By the time we went into the first ever lockdown in Uganda, schools were meant to be closed. Schools were closed actually. And after schools being closed, within time and then time to time, we were destined to return as on a partial way, as schools were opening in parts, where the government did first of all come out and say, let the last students, or what we call the final students, first report to school. After the finalists reporting to school and clearing of what you could say definitely clearing of their education as well, then the continuing students also started entering in phases. That is in phases as well. So you could definitely see why schools, even up to now, are still not reopening, because we even had schools, we even had phases in schools or levels in schools that were never reopened at all. Mention about kindergartens, where the government even had to reshuffle the education system, where we would definitely see that even kindergartens, or what we call babies or nursery schools, were never, may never appear again in the education syllabus or in the education system of Uganda. So you could definitely see, but with all those trending news, you could see that Ugandans have actually been living in a situation but still asking the government to reopen them. But the biggest issue that Ugandans are facing, leave alone the fact that schools are still facing loans, teachers changing line of business from teaching to starting up businesses where they can actually earn a living, Ugandans are still not aware of the fact that we are still living in COVID-19, because you would definitely see by the time the president did say we are lifting the lockdown, and most of the Ugandans were like, I think now we're getting done with COVID because the cases were decreasing. Remember, every time we're going to the lockdown, it is to ease or to make sure at least we cut off the wider spread of the virus. But every time we come out, Ugandans are remixing it again. And people do forget the fact that you need to keep the social distancing, you need to make sure you sanitize, and you need to make sure you keep on that face mask as well. But now, with the fact that it's going on, you could see now the city is trying to rejuvenate itself as people are trying to rebuild on their businesses. And I don't even told you at home right now when watching, you definitely feel like it's time for you to come up with new ideas, to start up maybe a new week, new days, as you make sure you earn something from it. We're almost halfway. We're already almost to 2022. New year is already approaching. Who knew by the time we'd reach this particular month of August that maybe Ugandans will definitely be into another set of lockdowns? And who definitely knew that by the time we reach again, COVID would have stayed at this particular time, because we definitely knew that a number of sectors will be reopened. We have people in the entertainment sector, mentioned the musicians, mentioned people, all the event organizers in the country. Most of them are coming up and saying the government has not reconsidered them. The government coming out and telling them try the online basis. Because when we do mention online businesses, we also mention online markets. When you're opening up online markets, it does not only necessarily mean to the business community, but it can also mean to the people who are engaging in entertainment, content creators, because with that you can grab audiences that do not even have a number of money to attend your concerts. Because with online, the only good thing about online that I definitely know, when it comes to the entertainment part, you're going to get real love from people that cannot easily access you. Because in most cases, if you're a musician or you're in the entertainment sector, you'll set up a concert in Kampala, forgetting the people in Gulu, or forgetting the people in Arua, or forgetting people in Barara. But by the time you're having your online concerts, that means someone from Gulu will easily see what you're doing, get your content, and definitely, even if you're going to pay, if at all it's a payable one, you definitely see that the numbers that will actually increase, because we do have a number of people are coming up with online and trying to adapt to the online situation as of now. Now, with the lot of news that have been trending as Ugandans, you definitely see that in cases of in any circumstances where Ugandans actually attributing their say regarding the policies or the policymakers in Uganda, it means we are all attached to it. Because now, if I do mention the fact that schools reopening or schools that are being closed, a lot of teachers being jobless, leave alone schools that are already closed down, even churches. You've seen church leaders, you've seen most of them from different denominations, coming up to claim that the government should also reconsider them because it is one's right to worship. And if you would agree with me, that definitely it is one has a right to worship regardless of which denomination you fall into. That is according to even the Ugandan constitution. So if you could see why every sector in Uganda that is still under lockdown is coming up to ask the government to let them do it partially as well, or to let them reopen in phases as well, or what someone would call process by process. But meanwhile, you can also send us your feedback regarding of what is happening in your area. That is, if you can go on Facebook at Smart24TV, that is Twitter Smart24TV, Instagram at Smart24TV. Get us on our website at www.smart24tv.com. How about if you go on YouTube? Do hit the subscription button. With the subscription button, make sure you like, comment, and also share those links. We want to serve you better. Also, to all the business entities in Uganda, do bring your businesses. Let us drive your businesses, because what we do definitely do is to make sure we drive your business, because here at Smart24 TV, that is what we definitely do. We are, of course, the best name in business television. And also Smart means business, where we are definitely meaning business in regards to driving it from the comfort of your home to wherever your customers are. Now, before we even head into more training stories, there is a quote here coming in from Winston Churchill. This particular quote does go that success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. You've seen a number of businesses starting up, and a number of businesses also, ending or closing up, because reason one, success. Some of the people, by the time you start getting profits, someone does think they're already successful now. The final verdict is, I'm successful. Hashtag success. I'm a successful person now. Forgetting the fact that failure does not just bump into anyhowly, because once you think success is final and yet you can actually tap into something else, you will definitely see that you need to keep up moving, adding something to your business. And as time goes by, you will definitely see that everything you need comes from more efforts. Not only the efforts, but you need to add on to something. Every time you get something new in your business, or every time you get new profits, these are the profits that are going to help you to stay in the business and stay in business forever, or at least make sure you actually get more and become one of the biggest successful people when it comes to that. But that means you're supposed to look at it in a simple way. Now, meanwhile, as of yesterday, Uganda did actually receive the sudden death of Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa, who did die in India. That is a statement from UPDF. As we do wish him, we do say, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Now, the deceased was retired Lieutenant General Kutesa Pecos. Yes, he did die on Tuesday. Now, the UPDF did tweet that Kutesa passed away on Tuesday, as the UPDF fraternity did regret to announce the passing away of Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa, which did occur in India rather. That was on Tuesday. And in a statement that was issued by the UPDF spokesperson, Brigadier Flavia Biekwaso, did say that Kutesa was on admission at Max Hospital in India's capital in New Delhi. Now, he was among the UPDF general officers who were retired on August 5th this particular year. Now, Kutesa, who was also a commander of the UPDF for doctrine development and sensitization until the time of his retirement. Now, according to the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, the UPDF and fraternity condoles with the family and relatives and families and of the deceased during this difficult moment, and the burial arrangements will be communicated later on. That is what the statement did read regarding the death of Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa, retired Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa, definitely there. So you could see that in this particular year, we are actually losing a number of people as well. We're losing a number of important people, not only in the economic sector, because we did lose a number of people in the economic sector regarding the COVID-19, the second wave of the COVID-19. But this one has actually succumbed to death in India at the Max Hospital there in New Delhi. So we will also keep you updated on when the body will return to Uganda, and also we'll keep you updated on which statement the UPDF has to say on the day that he is set to be buried in honor, because he's a soldier and that means he's part of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. Now meanwhile, ebimu ku bintu byensobola okugamba nti bikulu nnyo eri omunnayuganda. Buli ku makya oba ozuukuka, there is something that you add to yourself. Kano katono kangu nnyo. Buli wozuukuka ku makya, baako ekintu kye weeyigiriza okukola. Nti olwaleero nazuukuse, oba ejjo nazuukuse, nenjiga okukola kino na kino. Nti mu biseera ebisinga abantu abamu, we are living in a life that revolves the same way. That is why you will text someone or you will call someone on a phone call and you ask them, how is your day? Someone will come out and tell you, I feel I'm bored. It's like I'm bored. My whole life is full of boredom. Just because someone wakes up very early in the morning, you sleep, do some house chores, then in the night you sleep again, or you're always on phone. Teach yourself or emulate something from someone else. Teach yourself to learn new skills in life. Ndilero kumacha we man naize okusiba tugame ebiseera ebyo we nali nkyali muto nti we nali mu ssomero namanya nti olwaleero we man naize okusiba obugwa obw'engatto enkya njagala njige okusiba ettaayi. Oba osobola okujja n'ogamba olwaleero we manjize engeri yotandikawo ka business akali simple. Enkya njagala njige wemba nkatandise kiki kyensoosa. Because in life, the more you challenge yourself is the more you keep yourself to the goal. We are living in a world that is probably one of the most competitive generations now, with improved innovations, with improved technologies. You could see that everyone is moving at a terrible speed with the scope of life. You look clearly at an incident where most of the Ugandans out there are still living in a world that is comfortable. We are all still in a comfort zone. We are limiting our potentials. Reason is we are used to the same ordinary life. Omuntu no kera kumacha no gama, this is what I want to do. Nencha no kera no kumanya no gama nachikoze jo yeno routine yange njagala. Shock yourself sometimes. Reshuffle your orders or do something else that is going to keep you updated. If at all you're not into reading books, I think every single day you should wake up and read maybe a verse in the Bible. If you're a Muslim, maybe you wake up and visit the Quran. If at all you are a business entity, you can also wake up and visit some of the business sites in the on the websites, and also make sure you tap into some business tips as well. So you can actually, if at all you're not used to reading or opening or getting novels, you get used to reading, because the more you read, you tap into something, you get to know of ideas. Tap yourself into research, because the more you research, the more you keep your mind open, the more you create a wide scope for your own self, because the world is moving terribly at a very high speed. That means you're supposed to be innovative. Not only innovative, but your body should also comfortably be in a situation to be versatile. We've seen the fact that with COVID, the people who are not versatile enough have actually failed to still carry on business in terms of COVID. Because once you are in a line where you're always in a comfort zone and you feel like when stuck ekintu kyange nina kikola bwenti westa kikola bwenti tekijja kukola. Try out new ways. That is from me to you. Buli kumacha baako ekintu kyokeera okuyiga, baako ekintu kyeweeyigiriza, because with time, the more you learn something, the more you widen your scope, it is going to give you more knowledge and more ideas when it even comes to the business entity, or even makes you a motivational speaker, if I am to put it in that way. Now meanwhile, Just a quick reminder, I'm JORAM SSONKO on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're tweeting, you can use the hashtag JPLive just to give us your feedback regarding what is trending and what is making headlines across your home area or across your hometown. And also, you can also give us what you think, what is your view on the 2,000 Afghan refugees that are set to come to Uganda, as we do await for an official statement from the government to whether we will be receiving these particular Afghan refugees or not. And also, do get us on Facebook at Smart24 TV, Twitter, and Instagram as well. This is SMB Smart Men's Business. Now we do take a short break. When we do return, we have news, headlines, and reports regarding what is making headlines locally and also foreign or internationally as well. Keep it Smart 24 TV. We will be right back. Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business. All right, JORAM SSONKO, and welcome back from that short break. Now, Robert Kasande handed over the Permanent Secretary Office to Irene Beteve at the Ministry of Energy in Kampala. Now, that and more is coming up on our business reports this particular day. Let's go in, and we'll definitely be right back. All right, now let's get right onto it. In an effort to promote investments in the pathogenic industry, Uganda Investment Authority UIA has offered an investment license to Guangzhou World of Biotech Company Limited, and it's one of the world's biggest and fastest growing manufacturers of medical diagnostic products. Now, the company is setting up a shop in Uganda to manufacture pharmaceuticals, medicinal chemicals, and botanical products. The implication being that it would utilize locally sourced raw materials. Take a look.
In 1992, Guangzhou Wondu Biotechnic Co. Limited is one of the fastest growing point-of-care diagnostic testing manufacturers in the world. In a fight to promote investments in the pathogenic industry, Uganda Investment Authority has offered an investment license to Guangzhou in order to speed up critical investment projects. Speaking at the handover of the investment license to Guangzhou, Uganda Investment Authority Robert Mukiza said the authority is keen on attracting more investments in the pathogenic industry in order to boost the sector. The company is said to employ a number of Ugandans when fully operational. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 20.
All right, there. Thanks, Pedison Mumbere. And now you could definitely see that as Uganda is promoting the pathogenic industries, we're still clearly saying the fact that Uganda is trying to give investment licenses to a number of companies from abroad, from the foreigners in the country as well. Now, this particular one coming in from Guangzhou World for Biotech Company Limited, which is one of the world's fastest and growing manufacturers of medical diagnostic products. And of recent, the company is set to set up a shop in Uganda to manufacture pharmaceuticals. But also, I think the government should also consider the fact that even our own Ugandans here in Uganda actually setting up their own medicine, herbal medicines. We've seen a number of people coming up to set up their own medicine. And of recent, we even had Covidex coming up as a herbal drug that was definitely also aligned in an effort to curb the COVID-19 virus. Now, meanwhile, the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness is set to eject more money ahead of the government of Uganda accepting a request from the White House in the USA to host at least 2,000 refugees from Afghanistan, that is following the takeover of the Taliban government in the South Asian country. Take a look at this particular report.
Host at least 2,000 refugees from Afghanistan following the takeover of the Taliban government in the South Asian country. The request was made to President Museveni from his counterpart Joe Biden before a meeting at the office of the Prime Minister between the US and the Ugandan officials who summoned to discuss the technicalities. The Minister for Disaster and Preparedness, Davin Anyekuni, confirmed the development, adding that they are ready. Poor Uganda is the largest refugee hosting country in Africa, with over 1 million refugees, most of them from southern Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, among others. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24.
Now, this particular report, you could definitely call on to Ugandans. Are you steady? Are you steady? Are you ready for this particular one? Because as we still await for these refugees to step foot into the country, and we did expect the fact that when they are to come, over 2,000 of them coming in shifts of 500. As this particular story did come up with the fact that the US did request, the United States did request Ugandans to receive these refugees in a country that is still which is a war-torn country, if I am to put it in that way, in that perspective. Now, the Taliban government that is following the overtake by the Taliban government that overthrew the president in Afghanistan. This particular story was actually trending over since the weekend it started, as a number of people in Afghanistan, of Afghans, were trying to seek for refuge in different countries or neighboring countries. You could definitely see most of the videos that have been trending all over media and also all over social media platforms are people trying to save their lives, to secure their lives, to make sure they actually tap into another country or actually get themselves into the plane to fly off, because it is now a war-torn area and it definitely a war zone area, and it's basically a place that is not fit to live in as well. Now, how about if we head to the minister, the minister in charge of finance? Now, this particular one, Haruna Cheyune Kasolo, has said the government should not be blamed in case of Ghost Emioga SACCOs, but rather resident district commissioners. Now, the SACCOs, the Parliamentary COVID Task Force, say that there was glaring discrepancies in the expenditure of the Emioga funds, that was including sending of funds to non-existing SACCOs. Take a look.
Converse votes for President Museveni in the just concluded 2021 general elections, as many have been saying. Speaking to leaders in Bokedia, the minister dismissed the claims, saying the program is meant to ensure people get out of poverty, adding that by claiming the program is a political tool, many have missed out on its benefits.
All right, now, does your RDC have the time, or can you meet your RDC to give you more of the stories or regarding the ghost SACCOs of Emioga? Because according to the microfinance minister, Haruna Cheyune Kasolo, it is not them to blame, if I am to put it in that way. They claim they have ghost Emioga SACCOs that were on set, and according to the way Emioga funds were supposed to meet the people were through the resident district commissioners, RDC. Bakamisana Bamwabo, they have more to say regarding the fact that these Emioga funds had to reach to the different SACCOs. But what we do know is that the number of SACCOs are ghost SACCOs, or they're SACCOs in names or in written, but not in existence. Because we've still seen a number of reports even in Parliament where some people are coming up with ideas that some people have been getting money, or we've been having ghost accounts. And you've definitely seen this, whereby people are creating ghost SACCOs to tap into money, and yet the SACCOs are not available. Now, according to the finance minister, the microfinance minister that is in charge of the microfinance in Uganda, Honorable Haruna Cheyune Kasolo, did claim that the resident district commissioners should clearly come out and give you more reports, or should come and tell you, or give you the details of how ghost SACCOs are engaging into receiving Emioga funds of the community or of the people. Now, meanwhile, we did start with Robert Kasande, as Robert Kasande did hand over the Permanent Secretary office to Irene Batebe at the office of the Ministry of Energy, was in Kampala, following a reshuffle of the cabinet, which saw the Permanent Secretary Irene Batebe transferred to the Ministry of Energy. Now, take a look at this particular report.
We had to pay. In other words, it was a take or pay. We had been trying to revert to a take and pay, that if you develop your power plant, if I'm not able to off-take, if the transmission line is not ready, the country does not have to pay.
The outgoing permanent secretary did note that the ministry has also developed a number of thermal power plants across the country and also other power plants in the process that are waiting for the feasibility to kick off.
Thermal power plants. We have the Namambe thermal power plant, which Harrison can confirm that come September it will revert to government. We've been working towards that, and that's a good thing, because then it can be planned for better than when it is in private hands. In other words, you switch it on when you need it as a government. We have a thermal plant in Arua that is in private hands. But as I will speak to the transmission lines that are being developed, we hope that in the next 2 years, the transmission line that goes into Arua will have been completed, and therefore the need for that thermal plant in Arua, which is quite costly, will not be there. Other power plants that are in the making, Chiba Hydro Power Plant, 400 megawatts, feasibility is on. A developer was identified. If they go through the feasibility, they should be able to start the development of that power plant. There's Ayago Hydro Power Project, 840 megawatts. Feasibility is also on, and we expect that that feasibility will be concluded by the end of this year. Then we have Narubale and Kira power plants. They generate about 300 megawatts total. And these were our pioneer power plants of 1954. They have seen the time, and therefore they need rehabilitation. A feasibility study should be starting to see how best these power plants can be rehabilitated to get some more life out of them. So as you can see, the generation planning of this country is not so bad.
JORAM SSONKO, Smart 24. All right, now what we do know from Robert Kasande, who handed over the Permanent Secretary Office to Engineer Irene Betebe at the Ministry of Energy in Kampala. Now, in an official handover, which did have the State Minister for Energy, Honorable Ruth Nankabira, and at the government officials, Robert Kasande did highlight some of his achievements that he did leave, as you've definitely seen in that particular report. One of the key highlights was the electricity subsector, where he did mention that before he stepped into the PS office there at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, the power generation of Uganda was under 1,000 megawatts. But now, as of now, we do stand at 1,277 megawatts on a journey to 2K, on a journey to 2,000 as Uganda. Now, Robert Kasande did also note the challenges that they've actually faced do refer to the ability to off-take, and also which meant that there was supposed to be a take or pay situation if at all you are to carry on with the off-take. According to the outgoing permanent secretary, however, the ministry has also developed a number of thermal power plants across the country and also other power plants in the processes that are waiting for feasibility to kick off. That was an official handover before he did leave to his new office in power. So, and we do wish Irene Betebe all the best and good luck when it comes to that particular office of the Ministry of Mineral, that is of Energy and Mineral Development, is led by the said Minister, Honorable Ruth Nankabira. Now, those are among the stories that we do have at this particular hour locally. Now, we're going to check into which reports we do have at the international scene regarding news that is trending, and also to give you more on the updates that is making headlines across the globe. Now, we do start in Tanzania. Now, multi-choice in Tanzania, just like multi-choice in Uganda, which has also been in the news regarding bouquet, regarding new policies as well. Now, in Tanzania, the MultiChoice has announced that it will be increasing DSTV charges on all bouquets with effect from September 1st. Now, according to information that we did obtain from their call center, subscribers on premium bouquet will now have to pay 145,000 Tanzanian shillings and 139,000 Tanzanian shillings that they were paying previously. Take a look.
Premier League and the Spanish La Liga to our DSTV compact customers. In the same month, we went out with the box office and DSTV catch-up. And these two features really put control back in the hands of our consumers in terms of what they want to watch and where and when they want to watch it. At the same time, we also added 7 new entertainment channels across various bouquets. In April of the same year, and just in consideration of the challenges that we knew our customers were going through, we announced a price freeze. So April 2016, we announced a price freeze. But in October of the same year, we went even further by announcing major price reductions across the majority of our packages, some going up to the levels of 15%. Also in consideration of the challenges we understood our consumers were going through. During this month of August, and you may have seen this coming through in various places, we have also improved content on various bouquets, adding La Liga, and this is all games on La Liga into our family package. At the same time on family, we added 3 new international channels. This include BBC Lifestyle, the Food Network, and CBeebies. Customers asked for more value, and we listened. Continuing with the same value strategy, I'm very happy to announce further reductions in prices on a number of our bouquets, primarily in Premium, Compact Plus, Compact, and Access. These reductions are really in recognition.
That's MultiChoice Tanzania with the change in bouquet effective 1st September. Now, MultiChoice is a multi-big company, broadcast company, dealing in television broadcasting, depending on the decoder subscription as well, which undertakes DSTV and also GoTV. And in Uganda also, we do have much of offices of MultiChoice here as well, and we do have GoTV and DSTV, where subscriptions also changes and the bouquets do change as well, where we did actually have GoTV going back to 25,000, going to as low as 25,000 for anyone out there in Uganda. That is in Uganda. That is also courtesy of MultiChoice Uganda. Now, off and away from Tanzania. Now, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents do clearly say that they have now seized more than 121 shipments containing more than 3,000 counterfeit COVID-19 vaccine cards this year alone. Now, in a release, the agency said agents have intercepted the shipment at the port of Memphis at Tunis, and all of them are from China and bound for different U.S. cities. Take a look.
In a release, United States Customs and Border Protection agents say they have now seized more than 121 shipments containing more than 3,000 counterfeit COVID-19 vaccine cards this year alone. The manifest usually indicates the contents are paper or greeting cards. Inside were packs of 20, 51, or 100 of the counterfeit cards. The discoveries come as more and more businesses and entertainment venues are requiring proof of vaccination to enter. New York City will this week begin phasing in its vaccine mandate for bars, restaurants, and other venues.
All right, now that is the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents coming out to say they have now seized more than 121 shipments. That is containing 3,000 counterfeit COVID vaccine cards this year alone. Wow. You see, in such developing countries, you'll still want to understand the fact that when Ugandans, we did receive a report here in Uganda where most some of the people who did receive vaccines from the private entities or private hospitals or private-based companies did receive fake vaccines, or in simple terms, received water instead of vaccination. So now with USA coming up with 3,000 counterfeit COVID-19 vaccine cards in this year alone, how about what happened in last year as we were when the vaccination did start? Still posing a number of questions there, not only in the US or the United States, but also in Africa and in Uganda in particular. But also, just a quick reminder, government has already procured a number of vaccines in Uganda just to make sure that most of us get vaccinated and to make sure every Ugandan is part of this particular exercise. Make the vaccination part of you. And to all the students out there, for schools to reopen, a number of you definitely have to get vaccinated, and to the teachers as well. You've seen a number of associations coming out to call upon the teachers to make sure that at least you reopen. When the government reopens schools, we are in a phase of not only reopening schools, but also making sure that we are all vaccinated. And at least by the end of the year, the government wants to make sure that at least a number of people are vaccinated. Do forgive me for my intonation there. A number of people in Uganda are vaccinated. What are you going to do about it? What are you doing to engage yourself in society regarding vaccination? Me and you and me, it's part of me. But also do remember that not only are we living with COVID-19, we have a number of killer diseases in the country, or killer viruses, that I would not want to even air out at this particular moment, but you still know that we are still having most of them with us. So stay keen, and also keep keen with the fact that if you are controlling yourself or preventing yourself and having preventive measures from COVID-19, also make sure you prevent yourself from getting any other disease or any other infection, because you may not lose your life to COVID, but maybe lose your life to HIV/AIDS, lose your life to hepatitis B, you can lose your life maybe to something like malaria. So make sure that at least you take care of your life. It all starts with health matters. You know, normally they say life is the biggest thing, or is the most valuable asset humanity has ever received. So nothing beats life, because with life you can reach milestones. With life you can reach impossibilities. You can actually achieve more, because with life that is the only possibility of you to get rich. Because with life, well, I'll definitely start up a poem if I'm to start talking about life alone. Just a quick one. This is SMB Smart. Does mean business. Obviously, we are the best name in business television, business broadcasting in the land, Uganda, of course. And I'm JORAM SSONKO. You're welcome. Get me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. And you can keep tweeting with the hashtag JPLive, hashtag SMB as well. Give us your feedback. Get us on YouTube, and also hit the subscription button at Smart24 TV. Hit us, give us a like, comment as well, and also get us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Smart24 TV. The website is www.smart24tv.com. Just definitely to give you what we do, we give you a wide scope of advertising just to make sure your businesses reach the final entity, and we drive your businesses. And if you do have any business whatsoever, bring us on board. Bring it on board. Bring it to Smart24 TV. We clearly going to drive your businesses, trust me. And we'll definitely make sure that you meet the final consumer or the final service that you want to receive from the customer or the person who you're rendering the services to, because the main goal of any business entity out there is to make sure you tap into someone who's going to give you the money. You have a source, you have an advocacy room, you have an advocacy plus at Smart24 TV, where we do drive your businesses and definitely giving you what you've been missing. Now that brings us to the end of our special reports here. We do take a short break. Coming up, we do have business tips, job mat. For the business tips, you'll definitely get tips on how to basically run startup and also succeed in your business entity and all your business services as well. With the job mat, it is the link, because we have a report. We've had a report where in June and May alone, over 100 people did lose jobs because of the pandemic. COVID-19 second wave. Whew. dead hitters by far, if I am to put it in that way. So definitely, if you are to get yourself a job, it should be this particular time. It is that part after the break. We do come back with the job match. You get yourself a pen, prepare your notes ready. You can write down something, write down a job link, or write down the place where you can actually apply, because most of you are still looking for places to work. You never know, you may stand a chance and make sure you get your job. And tell you what, survival is for the fittest. So definitely, if you get yourself a new job at this particular time, that means you're standing a chance to liberate yourself from boredom, poverty, giving yourself a room to move forward as someone out there. Now we know keda kumachana ugama nzigu midde ninawaka sente. So by the time we're back into the situation of okusimbula, gosimbulo inam sente. All right, now we take a short break. We do return. This is SMB. Smart 24, driving business.
Amanya gange nze Ayeba Johnson mva Chenjojo nsika chapati simaze mu banga dene teri awo myaka nge 2 yoka nguzemu bintu bingi ninawe enkoko zange nine embuzi kalo sanga ngaba customer baja ne balanga tebasasude ekiri awo oba ebintu oyinza obikola nebitatambula bulungi nebibeerawo nebisulamu ate ebisulamu yebalosi oba oyinza okubulwa sente ezigula ebintu ebirala ebintu bya buseere kuduuka naddala engano eyo gavumenti yandutuyambye nekendeezaamu kaawo ku sente ne butto ebintu birinnye nnyo ate ekitala saawa zino bakasitoma si bangi n'ekiri awo
Wanyaga bampita maneno maka nimo gwenkola mkwa boda biruddemu myaka 2 era funyemu ebirungi nguzemu ettaka mu kyalo no mulimu gwagala nnyo akutandika nga 2016 kwembeera mbi mulimu kulwanoonya mulimu nga tekulaba tusalawo ntukolaki tuvuge boda ate tulaba sente zibeerawo ku boda so tubeesawo n'ebutonotono so okuvuga abantu nga 215 webityo naye ng'ofuna twalonga ena kitono nnyo nze nkola nga mitwalo 4 kitono nnyo weba nga zigenze nnyingi obeera ku mutwalo 10 mitwalo 9 egyo obeerako.
Smart 24, driving business. 24, driving business.